Hello guys, welcome to the channel. First of all, a big sorry to all of you. I know I was a bit inactive. I was not able to upload new videos to the channel in last 3-4 months. But now I'm back with an interesting topic for today. And today we are going to discuss about voucher abuse via session rotation. Okay, so this is a very interesting vulnerability. It is super duper underrated but highly impactful. And I believe many people who are testing the application and the purchase flow are not having this particular test case into their test cases. So I hope this is something new that you guys would be learning from this video. So the content for today's video, I will introduce myself, overview about the vulnerability, attack vectors, how the attack works, backend logics, and the preventions. So the people who don't know me, my name is Vishal Barot. I work at Flipkart as a senior security engineer into the application security team. I'm a bug bounty hunter. I'm a football fan and I'm a musician by hobby. So yeah, that's me hungry all the time. Overview. Let's understand how the voucher API can be abused. So in some applications, the voucher is applied to a product and it takes session ID into the consideration instead of the user ID or the cart ID. So when you apply voucher, the application backend has to remember that who applied this voucher and whose transaction the application need to discount, right? So in that scenario, the application should ideally remember the link the discount with the user ID if a user is logged in, the application if the user is logged in. And some applications don't are also do also allow purchase or transactions even when the user is not logged in. So in those scenarios, the application should link the discount to that particular cart that has been generated. Okay, the cart ID that has been generated. Okay, so in today's video we are going to understand how an application how you can abuse this flow and apply multiple vouchers on a product purchase, on the same product purchase you can apply multiple vouchers. So ideally it should be linking that particular discount with the user ID or the cart id in the case of the non logged in user, and user ID in the case of the logged in user. But if the application takes the session ID into the consideration, then it can lead to this vulnerability. So I'm going to explain it with an example in the next slide to this one. So attack vectors are session rotation, cart reuse, and session fixation for this attack. So now this is the major part, how this attack works. So I'll explain the normal flow first. Okay, so when you, let's assume that you are purchasing something. Let's assume that you are purchasing let's say a mobile cover, okay, at 200 Indian rupees. So the mobile cover is of 200 Indian rupees, and you are visiting the application, you are applying this voucher save 50. So while applying this voucher, when you apply this voucher, you get a discount of 50 rupees. But this voucher cannot be applied on the same product multiple times, right? This is how it works, right? You are given a discount voucher, it can only be applied once on a product. So if when you are applying this voucher on the product, it makes your total amount as 150 rupees, right? And the amount, the price without discount was 200, and after discount it becomes 150. And so this is how it works, right? The normal flow is like this, right? You have this session cookie here, you have this endpoint apply voucher, you have this cart ID. Yeah, so this is the unique cart ID which remembers, right, that on which items or on which transactions the voucher has been applied to, or what the price parameters has been applied to. So it maps all the parameters like vouchers or price ID with that particular transaction. So this is the cart ID for that. Okay, now if you can see, this session is having a session cookie xy. Let's assume that this session cookie is xyz. Okay, and cart id, the unique card id getting generated for this is 1234, and you are applying save 50. Now this coupon has already been applied, but let's assume that this application is remembering that, yeah, this save 50 has been applied, the 50 rupees discount has been applied on, not on the user id, but on the session id, right? Okay, for this particular cart. Okay, so in that scenario what can happen is, an attacker can generate, use different cookies, multiple cookies, right? And you can use some other cookie, some other valid cookie on the that specific cart id that belongs to him. Please remember, this 1234 cart id belongs to the attacker, and he replaced the session cookie from xyz to abc. xyz was attacker's session cookie. abc is the new session cookie that attacker generates. Okay, and if he applies a new cookie on the same cart id and gives the request a hit if the application is vulnerable and only checking the transaction mapped, is only mapping the discount to the session id, then it will be checking, yeah, okay, say 50 has been applied to the session id or not. No, it will say no. But as we remember, as we all know, that cart id 1234 has already been discounted for using this voucher. So the application logic will uh, assume that this is going to map this discount, 50 rupees discount, with the session id, and it is not going to check if it is on the basis of the cart id or the user id, if the application is vulnerable, right? So it is going to check that, and if it doesn't, and if the application is vulnerable, then this voucher will apply anyway on the cart id 1234, which is already discounted using the previous request. Now the price become 100 rupees. If the attacker do the same process two more times, right, then the overall price becomes 0 rupees, and attacker can buy the mobile cover or any item on that application for free. So this is how this attack works. So now how would you get the new cookies? Very pretty much easy. You can make new accounts on that application and collect multiple cookies from there, right? If let's say you, in this previous example, you only needed the four cookies, right? Three more cookies, right? So you can create three more accounts, right? And apply the discount like that, 50 50 50. It becomes like one, like you need three more cookies, so overall cookie becomes four in the previous example, and you apply them and the price becomes 0. So you can create more cookies by creating, signing up to the application, creating more accounts, or you can see if the application is giving guest cookies or not. If it is giving the guest cookie, you can use the guest cookies as well, right? Server rotate. Now the second thing is, either you can just create cookies by your own by signing up, or you can, or in some applications server might also give you the new cookie, because some applications, if you, some applications are built in such a way that if you do anything that updates the cart on the transaction, then it is also going to update the session cookie. For example, if the attacker gives a hit to this request which is containing a cookie xyz, and then in the response it will, the voucher will be applied, and also the cookie will be routed, there will be a new value of the session cookie, right? Let's say 123 or anything, right? It is, if the attacker gives a hit with this xyz cookie, okay, and some if the application, the application backend is built in such a way that on every cart update it should rotate, it should update the session as well, then you won't see in the response there will be a new value for the session cookie, which won't be xy, which will be a new value. Okay, so you can also take that new value and use it into the request, replace the old one, and use that particular new value and see if the application is, getting fooled by this trick. Okay, and it is, if it is the, if it is processing the discount again on the same cart id using this new cookie value, right? So yeah, the logic behind both the cases is same, right? You are using a new cookie, which is making the application believe that the transaction, the discount has not been applied to for this particular session, while the discount has already, while in reality the discount has already been applied to that particular cart id for that particular user id. Okay, so this is how this vulnerable code will look like. If you can see this here, you can see session id. So this is what the user controls, right? The attacker controls. So he can insert any session IDs over here, and if you can see, there is no condition or checks for validating the cart ID or user ID against the voucher, against the discount, right? So there is no validation over here. It should be there, and cart is reused across sessions without verification. Okay, so if you can see, the cart can be mapped in using through this code. The cart can be mapped to any session. It is being mapped to any multiple sessions, right? In this kind of flow, the cart will be mapped to multiple sessions, while it is recommended, and it should be like this, that any cart id should be mapped to a specific session id only. If the session id is getting terminated, the cart id should also get terminated. Okay, now this is how the fixed code would look like. User's ID via token tracks logged in user across the session. If you can see here this user ID, so it is going to fetch the user ID using the authorization token or the session cookie, session identity, session ID. Okay, so it is going to fetch the user ID, and it is going to log that transaction against, log that discount against that user ID. Okay, and in case of non-logged in user, it is going to collect the cart ID, and it is going to log the transaction, log the discount to that particular cart ID, so that if the same user tries to reuse the same voucher, it gives an error that yeah, this voucher has already been applied, because in the backend it will check, yeah, if it is a non-logged in user, it will be checking against that cart id that yeah, this cart id is already discounted or not. Okay, and in case of a logged in user, it will be checking the user id that yeah, the backend already extracting the user id from the using the authorization token or the session token, and it is mapping that user id against that particular discount. So it will, when it is going to validate, the validation will stop this flow from using the stop the attacker from using the discount coupon more than like twice or more, right? So there will be an entry where the user id will be mapped to that particular discount, and the cart id will be mapped to a particular discount in case of non-logged in user, and it will be validated. And when attacker tries to forcefully hit the request, and assuming expecting that yeah, it is going to apply that particular discount on the same transaction, then it would fail, because there is already an entry saying that the discount has already been applied to the that specific user id or the cart id. Okay, mark voucher is used as a central place to record voucher uses. So this is an function which is going to keep a track of where the voucher for which cart id and user id the voucher has been already applied. And using this function, there will be a validation, right? And the validation will fail if someone is trying to apply a coupon more than one time. Okay, and dual condition check to prevent misuse, whether logged in or not. So whether the user is logged in or not, there should be dual condition, right? It should not only rely on the apply voucher page, it should also check the same thing on the checkout page also, right? That yeah, there should be dual validation. It should check on at both places that yeah, the voucher is actually applied and verified or not, or validated or not against that particular cart id and user id. So how to prevent this vulnerability? Tracking through user id and cart id. This I already discussed with you. The tracking of the discount. Okay, the discount should be linked with, or the usage of the coupon should be linked with the user ID or the cart ID. User ID specifically for the logged in user, cart ID specifically for the non logged in users, right? uh, Revalidating at checkout. Okay, so on the checkout page there should also one more round of validation. See if the application, okay, recheck if the voucher is still valid. Okay, and ensure that it is not already applied by this user in the cart, right? Check if the same user has applied this voucher already or not. I mean, you have to make sure that the same validation is there on the checkout page as well, right? No cart sharing. So this one, prevent the cart sharing across sessions. So a single cart ID should not have multiple session ID linked to it, right? No session reassignment after voucher is applied. So as I told you, some applications generate a new session ID whenever the cart is updated, right? So it should not happen unless it is absolutely necessary. Uh, and if you are doing that, make sure that the tracking is there on the server side for the new token, right? For example, from ABC, I'm doing token ABC. Oh, sorry, from token XYZ, I'm updating the cart with a discount, and I'm getting a new token which is ABC. Then the same transaction or the same discount should be also linked to ABC, right? Because this both tokens are linked to the same user. Okay. uh, Maintain persistent voucher usage log. Okay, so you have to maintain logs that, yeah, user which whenever someone is applying the user ID or the cart ID with a specific discount, then it should be tracked that, yeah, this user ID and this cart IDs are already been discounted with this particular voucher. And in the final flow where the discount is being given, this particular log should be checked, and if user ID and cart ID are already found to have used that particular voucher, then the transaction should fail. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.